Now, hello and good afternoon. Um, Trying for the fourth time. I don't think anybody is here, but if you are, can you hear me? Um, I don't know whether the person in the room can hear me, but looks like we have any attempt at hearing. Is anyone able to hear? No. Doesn't seem that we have any interaction because I think I've driven you all away, which is not surprising. It's highly irritating. I can hear you. There we go. So my playing around with the settings seems to have worked. Okay, so Keeley can hear me. Right. Now, can the person in the background hear me? Are you listening in the background? Can you hear me? Yes, well, he hasn't checked. Well, the one time I needed him to check, he hasn't checked. Four of you, we've got Keeley who can hear me, allegedly. So here I am. And, well, it's taken rather a lot of attempts, but here we are. So thank you very much to Keeley and to the five others who are present. I don't know who you are because you haven't declared yourselves. And the two people who like. Right, okay, well, we've got noise, so we won't interrupt. We will plod on regardless. So it's like the war effort here, and, here we are. Cheers to you, and cheers to me, and cheers to me if we disagree. Here we are back in London, and I'm attempting to make a video in a kind of YouTube studio here with... we've got lots of noise in the background. I do apologize. The person in the background wants to play a bit of funny music. Right, yes. So cheers to him. He better not play too much music to interrupt until we've got going, but he can interrupt periodically. So thank you. Until we get a few more of you here, we can begin by saying welcome to Keeley and Vicby and Cult Television in the background, and Susan Rode and Beverly Kingsley, TMTB, thank you, and Mark Ogden. Okay, well, thank you very much to you and to the 15 and 5. I don't know what any of these numbers mean because it never corresponds to anything to do with the viewing figures, but there we go. YouTube is the most useless program to connect with. Got to somehow figure out a way of getting around it because it doesn't seem to like microphones, but the microphone is working perfectly now all of a sudden. So anyway, there we go. Maybe we'll blame Sadiq Khan today, or maybe we can blame Katie Hopkins. I don't know who we're going to blame for the microphone not working, but it does work now. So anyway, here you are. And have you any questions for me prior to us starting this program whilst a few more people appear? Because obviously we drove most of them away due to our stupid technical issues, which... it's entirely down to me because I'm totally inept, but there we are. Anyway, I do feel a bit like Keith Floyd, who we've been watching on the television. You shouldn't blame your implements for the issues. Oh, microphones are being moved around in the background, so keeping me organized, and the lighting also. So we've got all sorts. Anyway, it's been a very, very long time since I did one of these programs because obviously the microphone did not work. So here we are returning. Well, obviously I have some very sad news to tell you regarding a certain Lady Min. I will separately be making a little program about that, so I will not go into great detail, but what I'd like to say is thank you very much to those of you who have been so kind to send such lovely messages of condolence. And, she's looking down upon you all because you did provide her with great amusement in the last months of her life. As she was set in the south of France, she really did enjoy interacting with you. Okay, she liked telling a fair few of you off. She didn't agree with many people. She was certainly what was called a bazooka rather than a social hand grenade in many situations. But the white wine did always flow, and you were all very, very kind. Thank you. And that is something we will talk about separately. So I will leave it at that there. And I say thank you very much for all the kindness and support and generosity of spirit you've all had towards her. And I think she enjoyed interacting with the modern world. It wasn't really her normal thing, given she couldn't even use a mobile phone. But Lady Min enjoyed white wine, and she enjoyed sharing her opinion. And well, her opinions were very clear. And we don't have enough people in the world who have strong opinions. And one of you is asking, what do I think of the protests going on in London today? Well, there's protests in London every day, and what difference do they tend to make? But everybody should have their voice. So let people protest. And, London is a disgrace right now. Vive la France. We've got French music playing in the background. The naughty person in the background wants to play French music. Well, the French are bloody disorganized themselves as well, as most of my French friends will tell you. So the protests today, well, whether that will make any difference, who knows? But it's a strange place to be, London, right now. Sadiq Khan and his stupid underground strikes. Shame on him. Absolutely disgraceful. Lock him up. Take away the Range Rover from him. He doesn't need a £300,000 bulletproof Range Rover. Make him walk. The rest of us had to. That was the only way to get around. You couldn't go on a bus from Piccadilly to Putney. My friend it took him nearly 2.5 hours to go on a bus, crammed full of people like a sardine can. And Sadiq Khan is still driven around in his Range Rover bulletproof. What's that all about? Get him out. Jeremy Clarkson for Mayor of London, I say. But Jeremy Clarkson wants to be King of the Cotswolds. So I suppose he's down there with Ellen DeGeneres and all the rest of them. But, Jeremy Clarkson has actually shaken up the world a lot more than Sadiq Khan. So I'd rather he did something useful. I don't know whether you're all here still, because the comments seem to have stopped. So I don't know whether anyone's listening, but do you have any opinions? I see you asked, is Lady Min dead? Well, unfortunately, she assumed room temperature, as we like to refer to it, which is a phrase I picked up from Giles Brandreth's wonderful book, Have You Eaten Grandma, which obviously is about apostrophes and use of language. And saying someone's dead is a little bit crass in many circles, and it's a bit harsh. So assuming room temperature was something that Lady Min laughed at when she was alive. So that's why I referred to such on a tribute I made to her when I posted it on the internet. And yes, it's been a difficult time, and dealing with the difficult matters of other people involved with the situation is definitely going to be a problematic thing in this matter. But let's remember the good times. Always seize the day, as my friend Christine Hamilton said to me the other day, because she'd had a situation similar. And Christine said, seize the day and remember the good days. And that's what one must always do with somebody fantastic. We had odd moments. The Lady Min could be a very difficult person to have around, and she could be quite obnoxious. But equally, she could be quite spectacular. You never knew when the social hand grenade was going to drop, or where it was going to appear, or who was going to be offended, or what was going to be offensive that came out of whatever situation she found herself in. But enjoy everything. So make sure you enjoy everything. That's my message to you on that topic. So anyway, it's nice to have 35 of you here, because obviously not many people will be sitting in front of a computer at this time of day on a Saturday afternoon. You're probably watching some football game that was going on. That we were in a pub earlier, and there were lots of people preparing to watch such football. I have no idea what football it was, but that was the thing. Mr. Lee Kicker says, we'll never forget Lady Min. There we go. Well, that's very kind. And Mr. Lee Kicker, you were always very jolly and jovial with her, and I'm sure she will remember you. So there we go. Now we're saying we have no sound. Oh, right. I think it might be the music in the background that's drowning it out. So, right, I'll try and speak louder. Right. Well, I don't know whether you can hear me or not. But the second thing I'd like to mention to you is we have a little dinner coming up on the 18th of September at PJ's in Fulham Road in Chelsea. It would be wonderful if you could all attend. The description box, as they say on other channels, contains all the information as to how you can book yourself a ticket. It'd be great if you could come along to meet Andrew Lownie, who is the author of a book which has been an absolute bestseller during August this year. Sunday Times #1 bestseller, entitled The Rise and Fall of the House of York by Andrew Lownie. All about Prince Andrew and his lovely live-in ex-wife, the happiest divorced couple in the world, as they like to refer to themselves. Whether they sweat during such descriptions, one only could make an estimated guess. He likes to sit watching aeroplanes, does old Randy Andy, because he's got nothing better to do of a day. She likes to go out making videos on Instagram where she can't even be heard. She's worse than me, actually. Her video yesterday was not even heard. People were getting very cross with her. There we are. So the dinner is on the 18th of September at PJ's, which is next Thursday. It would be great if many of you could join, and we would welcome you. It'd be a great pleasure to have you all there. Right, well, who's the snitch? And I've got the sound now. I had it turned down. There we go. So it's not just me who's useless with the sound, is it, Mr. Snitch? Or who's the snitch? Who's the snitch? Well, I don't know who's the snitch. But obviously, you're the snitch when it comes to the sound. You need to switch on the switch for the sound, snitch. So there we go. It could be a rap song or something in that, couldn't there? Right, Fergie's a grifter. Ah, yes. Well, we all know about Fergie the grifter. Great friend of Jeffrey Epstein, never declared whether she repaid anything. Rather like she never declared all the other things that she got given. How much is she being paid to go on Loose Women, for example, Fergie? Feckless Fergie, what's she up to? What am I up to? Well, I'm here speaking with you. I see you. Okay, well, I see you too. Okay, thank you. Right, well, we're getting some charming comments about Fergie from Cult Television, amongst others. Claire Wright says, I'm sorry to hear about Lady Min. And right, there's more and more of you appearing. And thank you for joining. So, right, well, I don't know. We'll wait for a few more of you before we go on to any specific topics. So do you have any questions? Any questions? Sounds a bit like BBC Radio 4. Any questions, any answers? I don't know what we've got. It's good to have you back. You look well. I look like I've been dragged through a hedge and I need a haircut. But beyond that, I say cheers to you all. Here I have a little bit of whiskey, which is helping me along with this nice program. We did watch a nice little episode of Keith Floyd after a little lunch earlier, which was very nice. You loved the jacket. Well, the jacket was made by Sean Christopher, who operates from behind PJ's in South Kensington, Chelsea borders, I suppose you could call it. And he is the tailor to the stars. And clients include, people like Rod Stewart. So I'm very lucky to have a lovely jacket, the Tangerine Terror, designed in my honor. So there we go. So he if you ever need something tailored, he's your man. Now we're getting music in the background again, a bit of Keith Floyd. The naughty person in the background has decided that he wants to be some kind of comedian during this episode. So we're getting a bit of Keith Floyd music for now. We'll next have Miss Marple and Barrington for long, Inspector Morse, no doubt. I don't know what will be coming next. Did we bump into Claire Mandel? Claire Mandel was mentioned in a video by Lady Min, sadly before she died. And one day I'll play you the video from Lady Min and regarding Claire Mandel, and perhaps it might change matters, but I don't want to stir the pot yet. But not a very nice person. And Lady Min had some very good friends, particularly a lovely lady called Jewel in South Africa, who was very, very kind, and a lovely gentleman called Falcon, a boat captain who is English, but from Sandbanks, Dorset, and he was very, very kind in the last days, and he did a lot of good things. The lovely Kathy and Mike, the wonderful Kate and Steve, the lovely, lovely people, Remy and his wife, they were all very, very kind to her. The lovely Americans, and thank you to all of them for everything they did when I had to leave, because obviously the daughter was descending. And we won't go into that matter. Now he's trying to turn up the tempo with a bit of Howard's Way. So I see you met Keith Lloyd at a cooking demonstration in Cambridge. He set his jumper on fire, pissed, of course. Delightful evening. Well, that would have been a spectacle to behold, wouldn't it? So absolutely wonderful. You could have had Richard and Judy on the barbecue, I suppose, just for a bit of a Brucey bonus, if you wanted a bit of Bruce Forsyth and all of that. Right. Anyway, we're getting music in the background. I don't know whether music will get me banned, because I believe you have copyright issues. But there we are. Mad Melissa, says Mr. Lee Kinger. Yes, well, Mad Melissa, I would refer to now as malicious. She was a very wicked person, and her behavior was unacceptable in 1984, and it was definitely unacceptable in 2025. And most of the people in Port Grimaud, Saint-Tropez will agree with me. So I have nothing positive to say about her. So I will leave it there. That is my view of that matter. So what I also wanted to talk to you about today was the whole matter of Peter Mandelson. Now, Peter Mandelson, I have been writing about for many years. I've only met Peter Mandelson on a couple of occasions. Mr. Mandelson, or Lord Mandelson, as he inappropriately became, given the Prince of Darkness, as he actually revelled in being called. The only occasion I met him was at a bizarre place that some bizarre woman, who was a PR woman, and most PR people are bizarre people, let's be honest. There are some very nice ones and some wonderful ones, but the majority of them don't have an ounce of sense. This particular PR person decided to be the PR for something called The Library. It was in Covent Garden, and it was in a very narrow building. And I was invited to the opening of it, but it was a building site. So we were taken to a party that was on a building site. So you didn't really know what the whole thing was about, because it was just bits of plastic sheet. And there was Kathy Lett, the Australian novelist. There was Helen Lederer from Absolutely Fabulous, who I know. And there was Katie Hopkins, the rent-a-gob. And there was Peter Mandelson. And there I was in a photograph with all of them. I've never, ever understood what those people had in common. It was the most bizarre setting, but Peter Mandelson was there, and that was the kind of thing about Peter Mandelson. He could appear here, he could appear there, he could appear everywhere. He was like the Scarlet Pimpernel, this Peter Mandelson. He has reinvented himself 3 or 4 times. How is it that Peter Mandelson was able to do such? This morning on Radio 4, that revolting woman, Margaret Hodge, who was involved with the Islington little groupies, the nice Islington Council that wanted to legalize sexual relations with young people, charming as they were. Margaret Hodge, very lowbrow woman. Okay, she had a nice little row with Jeremy Corbyn. I can agree with her on a row with him because he's another fruitcake. But there they are going, oh, well, Peter had, he's absolutely brilliant, but he was too obsessed with power and money. Well, it doesn't mean that he needs to be reappointed again and again. The man was disgraced on multiple occasions. What is wrong with the farmer, harmer, starmer? Why did he not read the emails that he was sent on Tuesday before he went to Parliament on Wednesday? Can he not keep up? Okay, we do know that vegan Starmer won't do a nuclear war on a Friday evening because he doesn't look at his messages on a Friday evening because he's busy at home with little whatever her name is and whatever her name is, the children. He has to have family time. I'm sorry, you're Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Get on with your bloody job. Shame on you. You're an absolute reprobate, disgrace. And you were warned repeatedly about Jeffrey Epstein's connections with Peter Mandelson. I have been writing about it for many years. There was nothing new in any of this revelation. Yeah, there were a few emails, but all of this was already there. There were the pictures of Mandy and Petey, as he called him, trying on a belt in St. Bart's. There were the pictures already of the butler with the birthday cake, with the glasses of wine. Supposedly Jeffrey Epstein himself didn't drink, but there were glasses of wine on the table. A birthday party. There were the connections about Snow White with Jess Staley, the phone calls to the prison. That was all there before. Don't try and spin this that it wasn't there before, because I've been talking about it for years. I have been out there coming out with this. It is totally ridiculous to say otherwise. Peter Mandelson and Epstein were thick as thieves. But what you must also remember, and I also have continually highlighted, Peter Mandelson was involved with the key man in the whole story, Robert Maxwell, long, long before Ghislaine. He became friends with Ghislaine, but Ghislaine's father was a big funder of the Labour Party, and he was also a former Labour MP. He was somebody who helped Peter Mandelson rise through the ranks of the Labour Party. He was a monster of a man, who stole £500 million from pensioners. And he was an individual, whether Ghislaine Maxwell tells you anything or otherwise, who funneled the money of Robert Maxwell. And that is how she ended up with $30 million in her account when she claimed she hadn't even got a teaspoon to her name. It is an absolute disgrace. And Peter Mandelson should never have been put in the position of high office that he ended up in. It is totally, totally wrong. Anyway, there we go. So that's my little rant about that for the moment. But have you any questions? If you want to ask me a question about Mandelson, I can answer it. Peter is an old school dipper of pies. Oh, well, I don't know whether he's into pork pies or he's into, which could be lies, if you want a bit of Cockney rhyming slang. I'm in the wrong club. But I wouldn't want to sell my soul, says I see you. Oh, we're getting all sorts of weird noises in the background. It's not particularly helpful. I hope... Right, well, someone's trying to be a nuisance on my show, which is not very helpful. Right, okay, so, have we any questions on this topic? We've got 45 of you here now, so we're not that many of you today. We used to get a lot more, but obviously I haven't been around for so long, so there we go. Right. Right, you don't like ruining people in the background, ruining my program. No, they're not ruining the program. But they will be kept in order. Right, so yes, Peter Mandelson definitely a wrong 'un. Now, have you any questions about Peter Mandelson? Because we will be asking lots of questions. My absence has been noted, hence the few views, precisely. Well, we're coming back and I'm going to try and get this going again. It seems to be working with this situation. We've fiddled around with the device and it seems to have worked. So that's a positive. And yes, I would like to say something about Sadiq Khan and his stupid strikes, the stupid underground transport for London people. Fire the lot of them. They're absolute bunch of disgraces. I don't care what anyone has to say about this, whether you support them. If you support such idiots, you really deserve everything you get. You're an absolute bunch of fools. There is no justification for these strikes. These people have made people's lives miseries. I heard somebody who was having a funeral of one of their relatives and nobody could get to the funeral because nobody could get an underground across London. These are all elderly people who couldn't drive. Khan needs to be corrected, says I see you. Yes, well, I totally agree with you. There we go. Yes, well, I will say that no more of these strikes. But of course, under Keir Starmer, we will only have more strikes because this is what we live in this ridiculous country. I will say that Kemi Badenoch came across rather well this week. I'm very amazed that I come out with such a thing. But I thought her 5 questions about Jeffrey Epstein and Mandelson were quite something. She's finally getting a voice. So come on, Kemi Badenoch, continue as you started. Get yourself up there and make yourself the voice of the opposition before that fool, feckless fool Farage as in garage, continues to make a fool of himself with Mrs. Ferrari. She's hardly a Testarossa. She looks more like a Lada Riva to me, but that's how I feel about that particular nonsense. As for him and his house in Clacton, he doesn't care anything for the people of Clacton. He thinks they're clapped out. The place is not a particularly nice place from having been there, but those people deserve to be represented and they deserve to have something done for their community because the place is a complete mess. It would be better if things changed in Clacton, and it doesn't involve Mrs. Ferrari. She's not speeding into action, and she's not definitely the prancing horse, is she? So let's get her out of the paddock and put her out to pasture, which is where she belongs, along with Mr. Farage as in garage, along with Richard Tice. He can go back to his yellow stickers in Waitrose Belgravia, where he belongs. There we go. Mr. Lee Kicker says Badenoch was a lot better at PMQs. I totally agree. Absolutely. England needs to be sensible and get the gangster Farage out of politics. Well, I can't say I don't have anything other than to agreement with you on that. And hello to Enigma. Yes, and thank you for your condolences. Mandelson, the devil's son, says another. There we are. So, right. Well, anyway, here we go. We're at half an hour nearly of this little escapade into just attempting to see whether we can actually have some sound. We haven't even got any interruptions or questions from the person in the background at this stage, which one was expecting. But he's gone rather quiet. There we are. So thank you to Enigma who says press like. And we've got more and more people coming in. Well, this is jolly good. Please share and subscribe. I don't know what they say on other channels. I've forgotten because I haven't done this for so long. Who is the guest? Well, the guest doesn't wish to speak. So he's tapping away on his mobile phone device. So there we are. I do have a quiz for you in due course. You can have a quiz. You'll have to help and assist with that. But what else would you like me to talk about? I had a whole list of topics I was going to think about, but I haven't got the whole thing in order because of this stupid thing with the sound now, because I taken it all off. But I will talk about Christian Brueckner, for example. There is a topic. He will be getting out of jail within the forthcoming days because of a German lady who paid his fine, because he wouldn't have been let out because he hadn't paid unpaid fines. They were going to keep him longer. But this lady decided to pay because she thought it would help speed up the investigation into other matters concerning him and Madeleine McCann. It's totally backfired on her, and he will be getting out of prison. Now, he will be protected, which obviously he has to be because he is at risk of being attacked. He's a deeply unpopular person, and he is a very evil man without a doubt. You know, the other things he's been convicted of doing are entirely that, but I do not still believe that he was the person responsible for the disappearance of Madeleine McCann. It does not take anything away from the fact the man is thoroughly evil, rotten, and reprehensible, but why not reallocate the resources being spent on the search, the pointless search for a child that will never be found? You know, £15 million, nearly £14 million, whatever it is by now. The figure will have gone up. And then there's all the public's money that was also given on top of the state money. Why not try and find other people who could be found? You know, there are so many missing people out there, and they all deserve a voice, and they don't get a voice. The only person that gets talked about is Madeleine McCann. Every time the Metropolitan Police Operation Grange needs a bit more cash. It is utterly wrong. It's terrible that this is continuing. So we must put a stop to this. And as for Christian Brueckner, I will say it again, Mr. Brueckner is a reprehensible, rotten, revolting, sick, twisted, evil monster of a creature, but that does not make him responsible for something that they've had since 2020 to find the evidence. They found no evidence. So move on. It is time to move on from Mr. Christian Brueckner, and it is time to help missing people who can be found. Now, many of you are writing to me right now about Charlie Kirk, I see. I didn't know Charlie Kirk. I had seen messages he'd written on Twitter. I didn't know who he was. I didn't really know much about him. It wasn't really on my radar, but I had seen things. I didn't agree with everything he said, but I think that he spoke a lot of sense in some regards. He also said things that I would not agree with. But I will say this, just as happened with Virginia Giuffre, he leaves behind a widow and 2 children. And it is incorrect that people like, you know, as Lady Victoria Harvey, a just shameless woman, did with Virginia Roberts, don't come out with karma, got this man, and all of that. It's disgusting. This man leaves behind a family who are grieving, and he was a young man who achieved a lot. He definitely made his mark on politics, and he created a following, and he created a system where he highlighted things, and he has changed the world, and he will be remembered. And the monster who killed him should not be remembered. The monster who killed him is a truly evil person. There was it's appalling. So have the decency not to go on your silly social media going, oh, well, karma got him and all of that. That is disgusting. Shame on you. And I've said enough with that. That's absolutely reprehensible and wrong. So, yeah, that's my view on him. He needs to rest in peace, as Who's the Snitch says precisely. So, Loz says Christian Brueckner is the scapegoat. I would say he is being used as such. Well, he hasn't been proven as such, so he will leave prison and he will, God knows what he will do next. I do believe he is a danger to society. I agree with people who call him that because he has repeatedly done it again and again. He is not likely to change his spots, the leopard that he is. He's a monster and he's vile. But it does not mean that he took Madeleine McCann because it has never been proven in a court of law. So we must consider that. So there we go. Anyway, right. Okay. Have you any more questions, any more topics, or shall we have a quiz? I don't know what the man in the background is doing, but he's not joining in now. So,
I think it's quiz time.
He thinks it's quiz time. Well, I think it's drinks time. I think I need a drink before I do a quiz because I do need a little top up of something.
Drinks and quiz time.
Yes, drinks and quiz time. There we go. He likes to do some kind of chatty voice. So, right. Well, anyway, we'll try and do that. So he will take charge of that department. Have you got yourselves ready to do a quiz? Would you like a quiz? Maybe you don't want a quiz. I've written rather a lot of quizzes in the time since.
I'll get some Armagnac for you, Matthew.
Allegedly, I'm getting an Armagnac. Maybe that helps the quiz go better. Right. Okay. Well, I suppose I'll have to take notes on the quiz. Right. So are we ready for a quiz? No, I don't know. Right. Well, here we are. So we're getting more and more of you appearing.
Do you like Armagnac?
Well, I'd like a glass. The questioner is asking me questions if I'd like a drink. Well, quiz time. Yes, you lose at the quizzes, but you like them. Okay. Well, right. Well, we will try a quiz shortly, but first I need a drink. Right. You love a quiz. You really missed me, Vic B. Thank you, Vic B. That's very kind of Vic B.
Dizzy, quizzy, lemon squizzy.
I do apologize for the interruptions in the background. But, we used to have Lady Min. Now we've got Apple computer. Anthony Smart, as he's calling himself. Olive oil is very expensive. In Italy, it's more expensive than in France, which is weird, seeing it comes from there. Well, olive oil is very expensive in Britain. And Waitrose suggests you take olive oil as a gift to dinner parties because it's more well received than taking some bottle of wine that the host and hostess would not like to receive. Anyway, we've got a nice Armagnac in the pedestrian glass here that we're drinking out of, but we say cheers to the host.
Cheers.
He seems to be able to repeat himself. Well, right. Okay. So we're going to do a quiz. Blue Nomad says Waitrose would say that. Yes.
A bit of brandy. Right.
Okay. Well, thank you for your interruption in the background. We're having a quiz now. Are you going to take notes on the quiz or not? Or do I have to do it?
No, I'll do it. Don't
right.
Worry.
Right.
I'm capable, Matthew.
Right. Okay. Well, I will read out the questions and.
What am I supposed to do?
You've got to write down each person's name when they get a point, and and if they get another point, you have to give them another point.
I see.
Having to explain this, with Lady Min, she was more efficient. Not that she was.
No, she wasn't.
I don't think she knew anything about the quiz. She liked the quiz questions, but she wasn't very good at the quiz. There we go. Right, okay. We're going to do the first question in this quiz, and then we'll return to other matters.
I say thank you for your excellent instructions.
Right, okay. Well, the background, I don't know whether you can hear this nonsense in the background. I don't think you probably can, but right. Question number one. Which activist and longest-serving First Lady of the United States of America allegedly once said, "A woman is like a tea bag. You never know how strong she is until you put her in hot water. And the winner is not Lucy Worsley, who said Nancy Reagan. The winner is Rosebud Ann. Rosebud Ann. Anne, A-M-E. Rosebud Ann with Eleanor Roosevelt. So 1 point to Eleanor for Eleanor Roosevelt. Of course, the term was used. The description was used by Meghan Markle in 2025, annoying many people. Of course, Roosevelt had 4 terms in office from 1933 to 45. Truman later called Eleanor Roosevelt the first lady of the world for her human rights achievements. She was a great achiever, Eleanor Roosevelt. So there we go. And she compared everything to the strength of the tea bag. So hopefully she was drinking Yorkshire tea, like tea used to be. So there we go. So, right. Well, I thought you'd have played some music about Yorkshire tea in the background.
No.
The background controller is not performing as I expected. I thought he would.
Get on with the quiz, Matthew.
Right. So question number 2 is, in Liverpudlian or Scouse slang, what does going the Aussie mean? What does going to the Aussie mean? I see you thinks that the guest is amusing me. Not sure yet. What is going to the Aussie? SS Racing gets the point. SS Racing gets the point with going to the hospital. You just said hospital, but I will accept that point. Right, okay. In which English county will you likely find Haddon Hall? Which English county will you find Haddon Hall? It's not Lancashire, and it's not Love the Music. It's not in the bathroom. It's not in Kent or Devon, but it is Matt Luke Ken gets the point with Derbyshire. So Haddon Hall, more glass than wall. It was a house. Yes, we're getting interruption from the music, which is not very Haddon Hall-like music, I will say, having visited Haddon Hall. Haddon Hall, more glass than wall, because, of course, you could show your wealth at that period in history by having as much glass, because the tax on glass was huge. Near Bakewell, and obviously origins in the 11th century. Described by Simon Jenkins as the most perfect house to survive from the Middle Ages. The Manners family, obviously, were the original occupants. Of course, the Lady Manners are near where I am sitting right now. The Manners girls. They're known as, nicknamed locally here, the No Manners girls, because they're so badly behaved. 3 very naughty little sisters. I think they may have grown up by now, but about 10 years ago, they were known as the No Manners girls. So there you go. Right, question number 4. Are you ready for question 4? He's playing a bit of blankety blank for you in the background. It's not the Nolans. No, we haven't got the Nolans on tonight. Not yet, anyway. I did once have an interaction with the Nolan sisters when they came to open an old age people's home, but that's a story for another occasion. So there we go. The old Nolans, I didn't even know the Nolans were. Anyway, there we are. So, right. The next question. In which novel, first published in 1908 by Graham Greene, that features weasels, stoats, and ferrets as robbers and crooks? I'm misreading my own question. Right. Oh, yes. In which novel, first published in 1908 by Graham Greene, that features weasels, stoats, and ferrets as robbers and crooks, did Moley, Rat, Mr. Toad, and Mr. Badger appear? The Wind in the Willows. So the first person to answer correctly is P-I-V-W-I-V. P-I-V-W-I-V. Right, so question 5. In April 2016, for a first edition worth 50,000, of which book was British historian and art dealer Adrian Greenwood murdered at his Oxford home? So we've got to move on the questions. So if Cult Television could put a comment, it will split the comments, please. Cult Television. Just any old comment will do, because we've got to get the answer in. It wasn't fly fishing. Right. Anyone has the answer to who murdered the historian and art dealer in Oxford? It wasn't in Inspector Morse. This was a true murder of a book dealer. Which first edition of which book? Well, Lucy Worsley gets a copy of The Wind in the Willows. So Lucy Worsley gets it. So 2 questions about Wind in the Willows in a row. How I came up with that question, God only knows. It was a weird murder case that I was listening to some episode about. Okay, which openly gay Californian realtor and grandson of an Austrian-born fashion designer who became the first to import polyester into the US first starred on $1 Million Listing in 2006? What is the name of this person? G gets it with Josh Flagg. Yes, well, Josh is a little bit of a wild child who I have come across. He's a little bit eccentric. Let's put it that way. So come on, you've got to write it down. Oh, we're not getting our notes. Have you written it down? Have you got the name? Maria G. Maria G loves Josh Flagg. And Leslie S says, I'm not up on gay history. So there we go. It wasn't Cliff Richard. No, Cult Television. Right. In which year, confirming the British East India Company's dominance over the French in India, was the Battle of Plassey? Which year did that occur? Plassey. Which year did it occur in? It wasn't 1984 or 1956. It wasn't 1035. It wasn't 1965. It wasn't 1603. It wasn't 1823 or 1863. It wasn't 1756, but you're very close. 1756. Audrey. We'll accept Audrey's answer, given no one else's. Audrey can have the point. It was 1757. We'll accept Audrey. Audrey can have the point. It was the leadership of Clive of India who beat the Nawab of Bengal. 3,100 East India men versus 50,000 Bengals. It was a terrible, terrible number of deaths that went on there. Right, the next question. Which English football club, originally nicknamed the Citizens, changed its nickname to the Canaries circa 1905? Now, Cult Television ought to know the answer to this.
We'll have to ask him.
And the winner straight away is Matt Luke Ken. Norwich, of course, Delia Smith, another television legend who went on the picture and screamed, "Where's the Where's the 12th man?" or something, she shouted. She was completely drunk. There we go. She was a majority shareholder from 1998 to 2024. She has since sold a number of her shares. So that was Delia Smith and Norwich. Right. Well, we're not getting a very good musical interlude in the background. We haven't even had any Annie Lennox or any. It's all 1980s stuff here. Anyway, in which county in the Midlands of England would you find Sutton cum Duck Manton and Water cum Jolly? Which county in the Midlands would you find these two places? Sutton cum Duck Manton and Water cum Jolly. It's not Staffordshire, and I'm pixelating whatever that means. Right. Well, Audrey gets the point with Derbyshire. Audrey. It wasn't Preston North East. It wasn't Crystal Palace, which is definitely not in the Midlands. It wasn't Aston Vineyards, wherever that is. It wasn't Staffordshire, which is in the Midlands. And I love a Staffordshire oatcake. Very different to all other kinds of oatcakes. It's like a pancake. It's made with oats, obviously. And they wouldn't have called it a Staffordshire oatcake, would they? Get yourself a Staffordshire oatcake. You can buy them in the Sainsbury's, I believe. Wonderful things. Right, a bit like Yorkshire tea. Something you must have in your larder. There we go. Right, next question. Sculpted by Charles Sykes in 1911 and inspired by Eleanor Velasco Thornton, mistress of the motoring enthusiast John Douglas Scott Montague, the second Baron Montague of Bewley, or Bewley, I don't know how you pronounce it. Bewley is my correction in the background. Mrs. Brewer could correct me because she's now a raving ambassador for the museum. What is the official name of the Rolls-Royce mascot nicknamed Miss Thornton in her 90? What is its official name? The thing on the front of a Rolls-Royce, is its official name? It's nicknamed Miss Thornton in her 90 because it was named after a mistress of, one of the people who designed it. It's not the Silver Lady, no. It's not the Silver Ghost. But Audrey gets it with Spirit of Ecstasy. Audrey gets another point. Audrey is winning our quiz, we're being told. We say cheers to Audrey. Audrey has always been a winner with a chicken dinner when it comes to it. Cheers to Audrey. It comes to the background.
Very well done.
So, right, we can tell you also it was originally named the Whisper, and it was shaped for her curvaceous figure. She was allegedly a lady with rather large bosoms, to say the least. There you go. And the next question, number 11 on our list. In Britain, the most frequently deep purple root vegetable is known as beetroot. What do Americans call it? What do Americans call beetroot? They don't call it beers. They don't call it eggplant. TMTB gets it with beet. TMTB. Well, we use TM divided symbol TB, but I call him just TMTB. It's easy. Yes, it's coloured caused by betanin, obviously. The name is of a Latin, Celtic, and Old English origin. Obviously, the Victory Gardens were in World War II were very much associated. Margaret Thatcher was a great fan of beetroot, I'll tell you that. It was one of her favourite things. She survived the war on beetroot, so there you go. Little known weird fact, but I do know some very strange things. Oh, God, now we've got Cilla Black in the background. He likes to cause a bit of havoc in our quiz. Right, who is winning our quiz? Can we have
Audrey.
Audrey has how many points?
3 points.
Audrey's on 3 points. Who's on 2 points?
That's it. She's leading.
Everyone else
is on 1.
Oh, well, everyone else is on 1. So we're up to the question number 12, in which year did the Duchess of Sussex, then still Meghan Markle, launch her blog The Tig? What year did she launch The Tig? a blog of hers about a type of wine, Tianello. It was her favorite wine. It wasn't 2004, it wasn't 2021, it wasn't 2015, it wasn't 2019, it wasn't 2015, but Audrey gets another point. 2014.
She's good.
He's saying, isn't Audrey good? But Audrey is either very, very swift or she's very, very swift on the keyboard. But I think Audrey's a very honest person because Audrey's won many a time. So well done. And well done to all the rest of you for coming in shortly thereafter, Audrey, in fact, with 2014. Right. What does the wartime acronym SOE stand for? What does SOE stand for? I don't know what Cilla Black has got to do with the SOE. Nothing at all. I think you could find some more appropriate music for the SOE. Lucy Worsley gets the point. Lucy Worsley, Special Operations Executive.
Correct.
So well done to Lucy Worsley, who I hope is no relation of the other
Lucy Letby.
No, the other Lucy Worsley, who is on the historian who was on the Radio 4 this morning, annoying the nation. She is a most annoying person. So I don't know if you're the same, Lucy Worsley. I hope you're not, because I've been very rude to you if you are, but I don't believe you are the same person. I'm sure you're a much nicer Lucy Worsley. It's not a standard of excellence, Maria G., but thank you for your suggestion. It may as well be. But Churchill was, of course, a great fan. Okay. When did Newcastle-born Anthony Ant McPartland and Newcastle-born Declan Deck Donnelly first appear in Byker Grove together? Which year were they first on the screen together? Ant and Deck. I never worked out which one was Ant and which one was Deck. It wasn't 1994, but SS Racing gets it with 1990. Well done. Let's Get Ready to Rumble is actually the song you should have been playing in the background. Chart number 1 in 2013. Right. Okay, we're going to move on. So change the music. Think of photographers, paparazzi. You've got a song about paparazzi, Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga paparazzi. So,
let's go all the questions.
What are Richard Young, Dave Bennett, Hugo Bernard, and more historically, Cecil Beaton associated with? Richard Young, Dave Bennett, two I know very well, Hugo Bernard, who I don't know, and more historically, Cecil Beaton, who obviously I didn't know, associated with. And it is photography. SS Rating can have the point.
SS Rating, yeah.
Yes, so SS Rating has definitely got several points. Oh. We didn't get Lady Gaga and paparazzi. Yeah. The music is not keeping up with the questions. You should have read the questions beforehand. Okay, right. What type of meat are faggots typically made from?
Faggots.
Yes. Matt Luke Ken gets the point with offal. Faggots are made with minced off cuts of offal, mostly pork, pig's heart, liver, fatty belly, meat, bacon mixed with herbs and breadcrumbs.
True. Popular
in Wales and the Middle England. Yes, there you go. Faggots. It's nothing to do with homosexuality, so don't get all angry. It's not an offensive word. The woke and the rest can just calm themselves, calm your nerves.
But in 1925, Herbert Hillbrain surpassed himself.
Where is it believed wine was first produced 8,000 years ago? Where was wine first produced? I could do with a wine. There we go, but no, I'm plodding along. You don't eat them in Lancashire, says Lee Kicker of Faggots. So right. Enigma says Greece. You're totally wrong. Lee Kicker says Egypt. You're totally wrong. PIVWIV, Rome. No, you're totally wrong. SS Racing, Greece. Wrong. Maria G, Italy. Wrong. Leslie S, Syria. Wrong. Lucy Worsley, you get the point. It was Georgia. I have a friend who I went to university with, London School of Economics, and he sells wine in California, where they make lots of wine, from Georgia. He is a wine merchant from Georgia and wine. So there you go. So Lucy Worsley gets the point. Have you given Lucy Worsley our point that she deserves?
You wish you'd tried them years ago.
He's not very quick, this little assistant. He's not quite the Debbie McGee. We've got to get him trained into the role. He's at the moment behaving a little bit like Katie Hopkins. We've got to get him up to Debbie McGee standard. We need a Mrs. Merton moment here, I think, on this score taker. The scores on the doors, Miss Doors, or whatever they say.
In fact, I know what's already.
He's playing his music. He's too busy with that.
Reader, I know what you're thinking. What's that?
Right. Okay. So we've got another question for you, which we need some music. I'll give him a musical choice. I think he's going to have to be given a musical choice prior to the question. Right. The question is about Dua Lipa, so you have to play some Dua Lipa. With what is the English Albanian Dua Lipa associated? That is your question. Dua Lipa, what is she associated with? She turned up on a beach in Broadstairs only a couple of summers ago, took over the beach. And her fiance is allegedly going to be next to him. SS Racing says singing. Leslie S says Rent-A-Gob. I think we'll accept SS Racing. She might be a Rent-A-Gob also, but I think that's a bit mean. You know, she has been very successful as a singer. She's won a Grammy, Brit. She began her career in 2013, and she defines herself as a cultural definer. Sounds like a load of mumbo jumbo to me, but, you know, Dua Lipa has a fan club. It's clear. So there we go. Right. Next question. This is the penultimate question, and it's about the Sunday Times. Have you a song about Rupert Murdoch, maybe? I don't know. Or rich people. Okay, which newspaper has produced an annually updated list of the 1,000 richest residents of the UK since 1989? That is your question. Matt Luke Ken gets it with Sunday Times. Matt Luke Ken. He's definitely got a few points as Matt Luke Ken. And now we need the music of an antiques BBC BBC TV series. We need the music for it. This is your final question, so you better get the music right. He better get the music. No. Think Ian McShane. Oh. He thought Antiques Roadshow was going to be the question. It is not. No. Music. So, starring Ian McShane as a less than scrupulous yet likable, roguish antiques dealer, what is the name of the 71 episode over 6 series British comedy drama mystery series originally broadcast on the BBC between January 1986 and December 1994. Our winner with Lovejoy is SS Racing. So, what do we have on the scores? Right. PIVWIV says it's your favourite. I do love a bit of Lovejoy. And Lady Min and I, we ended her days watching Lovejoy because that was all we could get on YouTube along with Howard's Way. So thank you to the Howard's Way couple, Kathy and Mike. And we've got a roll call of who came third. Third, you know.
Lots of joint thirds.
Joint thirds, okay. Joint third was
Everyone.
Oh well, okay. He's not prepared to read out third.
Joint second was Lucy Worsley.
Lucy Worsley
Matt Smith.
And Matt Smith.
And we have a joint number one, so they need to.
Oh, we have a joint number one.
off.
So now we have a problem. Right. So now we have a problem. So we're going to have another question. Right. So this is where things get complicated. I will go back to a previous quiz and ask a question. Now, who are in joint first?
SS Racing and Audrey.
SS Racing and Audrey are the only people who can answer the forthcoming question. And it's not about Howard's Way. Howard's Way is just playing in the background. Can we turn down Howard's Way, perhaps? And we will instead have a bit of music about something else. Let's find a suitable question. Right, so we're going to find a question that we can give you. Right, we've got to think about this. This is right. He wants Going for Gold, but we're not having that. Yes, there we go. Right, okay. Right. I've got to think of a sensible question that's easy for you both. Okay, it's a very simple question. We need a bit of Liverpudlian music. Bit of Cilla Black. Something different by Cilla this time, though. So we've only got Audrey and who's the other person?
And SS Racing.
SS Racing can answer the question. Audrey.
Well, we should say it in the right voice. The runners-up are Audrey with 4 points.
No.
And SS Racing with 4 points.
Right, Audrey and SS Racing. Are you ready? Audrey, are you ready? Are you ready for your question, Audrey? Is Audrey ready?
Is she ready?
SS Racing is ready and Audrey is ready. So can we have Cilla Black, something else? Something else by Cilla Black and more cheerful.
Can't get more cheerful than Blind Date.
Well, Cilla Black. Anyway, right. Audrey and SS Racing. We have a question for you two only. Nobody else will be... you're not very... The musical talent is causing me havoc. What in Liverpudlian slang does scally mean? What is a scally? It's not holding hands, by the way. SS Racing gets it with Troublemaker. So the winner,
Yay!
the winner is SS Racing. So, right, can we change the music now, please? SS Racing is the winner. Winner, chicken dinner. Well, that's what you get. But thank you for joining in. And thank you to Audrey. You came a veritable, wonderful second. You have won on multiple occasions, Audrey. So we say cheers to you and cheers to me and cheers to me if we disagree. And thank you very much to you all. Do you want another quiz? Would you like another quiz, or is that enough quizzes for one moment? Would you like another quiz? But thank you to Audrey and Mr. Lee Kicker, and thank you to everybody else who participated. Some of you answered spectacularly, and some of you were beyond the weakest links. Some of you should have been told goodbye when you were born.
Goodbye.
Right. Well, anyway, would you like another quiz, or would you like no more? So we're not getting any answers here. We've got congratulations. Maybe the system is slowing down.
I think we're waiting for answers.
We're getting congratulations.
Congratulations.
And congratulations.
Yeah, we've got a bit of delay.
We have a bit of delay on the system, allegedly. Please bear with us. Trampolines on the line, as they say on the railways. Right, well, we can try another quiz with you if you would like another quiz, but maybe you don't. You would like another quiz, says Francis Longman. Well, I think I might need a splash of something in there.
Some more Armagnac, perhaps, that's it.
Right, well, the quiz master's going to be better at music, so I'm going to give him a little... Does he want to have a read of the quiz book first?
Why not?
Then he can see the question. You can't read it.
Where's the spaces?
Oh, well, you just give it back. Right, well, let's go ahead.
Looks like it's been written by a blind man.
Well, everybody else loves my writing, apart from you. He's not very complimentary, this assistant. He's not exactly Debbie McGee, is he? Spilling tea with Debbie McGee. That's what Christine Hamilton does, allegedly. I love Christine. She's absolutely fantastic. And well done to Christine for, coming out with some of the most sensible things we've got out there and about all sorts of topics. If you want to hear someone talk sense, follow Christine Hamilton. She just took, the British battle axe. She's absolutely great. Wonderful lady. Right. Okay. Are you ready for another quiz? Mary Taylor's late getting here, but good to see you. Hello to Mary Taylor and Francis. Yes. Audrey says, I think your co-host is doing a fab job.
Thank you.
Right. He says thank you. Oh. He needs to find some other music. Well, anyway, right. Are we ready for another quiz? Have we got another piece of paper? Are you ready for your quiz?
Yes, I've got lots of paper.
Right. Right. Okay. Question number 1. The SS Racing thinks the music is hilarious. He's trying to suck up to you in the background. Right. Okay. Well, right. You can have another quiz. Quiz number 119, and I have written now, over 130, I think. Right. So you've got a few, but tonight, this is our final one for tonight. But, this afternoon, it's only 5:44. Bit of countdown. I love Twice Right Nightly, Richard Whiteley, and of course, the late, lovely lady friend of his. She was an absolute delight as well, and we talked about her after her sad demise earlier this year, and Lady Min was a big fan of him also, so yeah, we did like them. So we're coming up for our second quiz of the night, so we need a bit of music about I don't know what we can have as music for you for this. You can have a bit of Coronation Street. They will come up later, but that's going to come up later. What else is going to be in this quiz? You're going to get the music. That you can have a bit of about the Duchess of York. She'll be in the quiz. There'll be a bit of Bacardi. I'm giving you some hints. There'll be a bit about the City of the deserts of South America. There's going to be a bit about Scotland. You could have. He hasn't been given musical hints at this stage. A bit more Coronation Street. There's going to be several. Bit of Michael Jackson. The Monarch of the Glen will be a bit of that. So, a bit about Afghanistan. A bit of I don't know, horse racing. So anyway, there you go. Mr. Lee Kicker's enjoying blockbusters.
Are you ready for your quiz?
Are you ready for the quiz number 2 of the
Quiz
evening?
number 2.
Here we go. Audrey wants to have a pee. Well, that's a little bit much information. Well, we'll give you a moment. So he will find some music in the meanwhile. So what about a little bit more of Inspector Morse music?
We had that earlier.
We already had that. El Dorado. That was a sort of failed television show,
My
wasn't
friend was in that.
it? Oh, his friend was in El Dorado. Well, his friend obviously didn't do very well in El Dorado. El Dorado was a flop.
It was quite good.
Crossroads Motel. That was the remake. What about Brookside Close? Patios and all that.
That's coming back. They're bringing back Brookside.
They can't be because they
No,
sold the address.
They're bringing back for a while.
Well, they can't because the address has been knocked out or whatever. I don't know this one.
El Dorado.
He's playing El Dorado for you in the meantime. I do apologize for the lowbrow nature of my musical choices. I don't know this particular one. Right, well, Audrey's back again, it seems. Right, so we're going to begin with our next quiz. Are we ready?
Ready and waiting.
I would not leave that wine glass there if I were you, given your abilities. You might knock it over. Featured in Ogden Nash's poem Paradise for Sale, published in the New Yorker in 1959. Oh, sorry, that's not the question. Right, oops, I'll start again. In which English county would you find the River Piddle? Piddle Hinton and Piddle Trentide. Where would you find the River Piddle, Piddle Hinton, and Piddle Trentonhide? It's not in Wiltshire or in Peckham, but it is in Dorset. So Steve R gets the point. Steve R.
Steve R. Well done, Steve.
So the names prompt amusement and discussion. Letters to the Times newspaper even. Featured in Ogden Nash's poem Paradise for Sale. The river's name has Germanic origins. Piddledon in AD 966, later Pidell. There you go. There's the Dorset Piddle Brewery. There's the Piddle Hinton, the 300 gallons of ale per week made there. So you can even drink the Piddle.
Nice. Who won that point?
The winner of the point was Steve R. Steve R got there first.
Thank you.
Well done to Steve R. Yes. Apologies for my horrible hair swept away. So, question number 2. With which sport is Newmarket-based John Berry associated? What is John Berry associated with? John Berry and Newmarket. Hatchy gets the point with a racing. We'll accept racing. It's horse racing. Hatchy. He disappointed his parents by forsaking a place to read theology at Oxford for a life as a trainer. And of course, he trained Roy Rocket, an amazing racehorse that I have a great affinity with. I've spoken of Roy Rocket on many occasions. The 9-time Brighton winner, Roy Rocket. And people used to cheer, Roy's the boy, as he raced home. And we love Roy Rocket. So you can have a song about Roy, perhaps. Who is the screenwriter of the 2025? Did we get the answer to that? Oh, you didn't get the answer, right? The winner. Oh, we haven't had the race. We haven't had the winner yet. No. Which sport is Newmarket-based John Berry associated? Horse racing. We already got that. We gave that away.
Next question.
Yes, you not. You.
I already had my answer.
I know. Well, sorry, he's interrupting the questions. Right. Okay. Who is the screenwriter of the 2025 crime drama television series about an unconventional bookshop owner who helps police solve crimes in 1946 London, Bookish? What is his name? The man who wrote Bookish. That's got nothing to do with Bookish. WIV gets it with Mark Gatiss. Of course, it stars Mark Gatiss also as the appropriately named Gabriel Book. 6-part episode. Very interesting. I enjoyed it. A very easily watched program about a man in a bookshop who was also solving crimes. So quite curious. Right. In which year did the US lead an invasion of Afghanistan aiming to dismantle Al-Qaeda? Which year did they invade trying to dismantle Al-Qaeda? It wasn't 2006. It wasn't 1990. That was the Gulf War. It wasn't 2004. No. Hatchy gets it with 2001.
Hatchy.
After 9/11, obviously, removing the Taliban 2 decades until the 2021 withdrawal, obviously. Which still privately owned Scottish family firm, founded in 1868, is best known for producing tinned soups, including Royal Game, Cullen Skink, Lobster Bisque, and Scotch broth, amongst others. A friend of our family. Lovely people. And the answer, Matt Lucan, is the winner with Baxter's. The founder, George Baxter said, "Be different, be better." He began making soup in 1921. Originally, they made jams and jellies. Ethel Baxter invented the canning machine in 1929. And of course, Ina Baxter, my grandmother's friend, said on the advert she did for the company, she said, "I was born to make soup." And that was how she wanted to be remembered. The soup family, the Baxters. An absolute bunch of legends. The Baxters of Speyside. Lovely people. Absolute spectacular cans of soup sold all around the world and even in shops, including Fortnum & Mason. You couldn't get a better tin of soup than the old Baxter. So, there we go. We're getting a bit of suitable music for the old Baxters. Yes, I was lost and then I was found and all of that. Right. In which... featured on the label of Baxter's Royal Game Soup, continuing the theme, and also as a variant as its logo since 1968 by Glenfiddich single malt whiskey. I should be drinking that right now. Who painted the Monarch of the Glen, an oil-on-canvas painting of a red deer stag in 1851? Who painted the Monarch of the Glen? Who painted it? It wasn't the Highland Cow, no. Who painted the Monarch of the Glen? What was the name of the painter? Jules B can't do the quizzes she's making. Rye and caraway bread. First time and struggling. Well, I hope you do well with your bread. It wasn't Rolf Harris. Sebastian Bluewater says Landseer. Okay, we can accept that. So Edwin Landseer.
Are we happy with that?
Sebastian Bluewater can be written as the... Well, Sebastian Bluewater gets the point, and obviously in 2017, the National Gallery ran a campaign to buy it for £4 million. Diageo, who'd owned it, had asked £8 million, but they offered it generously for £4 million to the gallery. So it's now there in the Scottish nation, and it's still on the tins of soup if you want a cheap version. So you can buy a tin of soup if you want to look at it. Okay, so in which year, founded as the Standard in 1827 and known as the Evening Standard from 1904, did the weekday evening London paper cease to be published 5 days a week? Which year did they stop publishing the Evening Standard 5 days a week? It wasn't 1985, no. It wasn't 2025 either, no. It wasn't 1995. It was 1978. It wasn't 1998, but it was. Sebastian Bluewater gets it correct.
Again.
2024. Became a once weekly named the London Standard. Obviously bought by the Lebedev family in 2009, and the Lebedevs, Lord Lebedev of Belgravia or Mayfair or wherever, and the Russian Federation has slashed all the jobs and got rid of everybody. Nice guy, Lord Lebedev, man who kept a wolf in Belgravia. Charming chap, really generous, really kind. Yeah, thank you, Lord Lebedev, for raping and pillaging our country. Now, bog off. You're the one who should bog off.
Stick it up your jumper.
Stick it up his jumper, as the person in the background says. We don't like Lord Lebedev or his wolf called
It's
Boris.
an oxymoron.
Yeah, he's an oxymoron. He's a sticking up his jumper. So anyway, moving on. Designed by Herbert Gribble. Get out the mini cheddars. Right. Going live. Hello. Hello. Sorry. Had to turn the computer off. Can you check the computer works? Hello. Can you hear me? Right. There's only 21 of you left. You've all quit. Don't blame you. I'm totally annoying, aren't I? Right. Can you hear me? Hello? In the room?
Oh, have a look.
Oh, good, yeah.
Oh.
He's not much
where
use. Where am I? You hear me? Okay, well, we're back. Sorry, we had to restart the computer device. Something to do with Sadiq Khan London's internet. The internet stopped working in this part of London just now. So, yeah, it's just they don't want people like me to speak out, do they, against Sadiq Khan? So where were we up to on our little quiz? We were up to the question about the soup, weren't we? Already done. We've gone a bit further. Right. We did the Evening Standard. No, we did the... Oh, no, we were on to the question about the Brompton Oratory. So we'll ask the question about Brompton Oratory again. Are we ready?
Go for it.
Designed by Herbert Gribble after he won a competition in 1869, in which year was the Brompton Oratory near Harrods in London consecrated? Which year? The formal title was, of course, the Church of the Immaculate Heart, often just called the Oratory. It was the dead letter office for the Soviets during the Second World War and up till 1985. So
Yeah.
Sebastian Bluewater gets it with Brompton Oratory. So well
Sebastian
done.
Blue of the water.
So well done to Sebastian Bluewater. And sorry to the ones who've been cut off. Right, we're still back on the same old feed. Yes, you're all here. We're all here, and we're all here, and we're all here, and we're not so queer. So there we go. Right, okay. In which year did both the Black Eyed Peas have a hit with I've Got a Feeling and Michael Jackson die? Which year did both of those events occur? Have we got a bit of I've Got a Feeling to play in the background?
Leave the music to me, sir.
Yeah, we haven't played I've Got a
I'm
Feeling.
focusing.
We haven't played Michael Jackson.
Don't know. I've got a feeling.
Mr. Lee Kicker gets it with 2009. Mr. Lee Kicker. Give Mr. Lee Kicker a point, please.
Lee Kick, yeah.
Mr. Lee Kicker. It was the summer of 2009.
Shut it.
Okay, now we need a bit of Coronation Street anthem. In which year did Barbara Knox first appear as Rita in Coronation Street? Which year did she first appear as Rita in Coronation Street? Rita Tanner, also known as Rita Littlewood, the cabin newsagent, the second longest serving current TV star in the world, second ditto in Coronation Street in 2025. No, that's not music. It's pathetic choices in the background. No, that's not Rita. That's not Rita. That's not Rita. That was Vera Duckworth. That was Vera Duckworth. Even I don't know that, and I don't even watch the program. There we go. A bit of Coronation Street. So the winner. Which year did she first appear? Well, I can't believe it, but Sebastian Bluewater gets it again. 1964. Sebastian Bluewater, I hope you're not using Google Chat IAB. Naughty, not. No, we want honesty. Right, okay, moving on. We've got to turn that off. We'd like a bit of Scottish music. Maybe Donald, where's your trousers? Yes, we'll have a bit of Donald. No. Yes, I'd like that. What is the height in feet of Scotland's highest mountain, Ben Nevis? What is the height of Ben Nevis in feet? Mr. Lee Kicker says the music is an interesting addition to proceedings. Well, it is if the music were useful. I think we're going to have to get him trained in the music a little better. But he's making a good start.
Rod Stewart, he's Scottish.
Oh, God, I don't want Rod Stewart. Penny Lancaster and Michelle Mone. I don't need all that nonsense over again. What is the height of Ben Nevis?
Come on.
It's not. I said in feet, not meters. I don't know what meters are, so I can't tell you if it's 1,200. No, it's not 5,000 feet, Sebastian. No. But it's close to 5,000. But it's not 5,000. It's not 1,900 SS Racing. It's not 2,500, Mr. Lee Kicker. Audrey is close at 4,000. And if nobody comes closer, SS Racing can have it at 4,500. 4,500. The exact is 4,413. The Highland region, the western end of the Grampian Mountains, 150,000 visitors per year. The lovely Ben Nevis. I've never been up Ben Nevis. When I was at London School of Economics, there was a boy I was forced to share a room with in my first year at university for a few weeks before I decided I could not share a room with anybody. And he was called Chichao Chan Chan. And Chichao Chan Chan thought it would be wise to climb Ben Nevis in the snow in his anorak and his trainers. He had to be airlifted down and in a helicopter, costing the British taxpayer a fucking fortune. Absolutely ridiculous. So, no, I won't be going up Ben Nevis myself because I don't want to end up in such a situation either. And, you know, what's the point of going to the top of a mountain have to walk all the way back bloody down again, don't you? So no, not my idea of fun. I've done a few mountains in my time, but I won't be doing any more. So I'll leave mountains to talented friends of mine like Sir Chris Bonington, a fabulous mountaineer and a wonderful gentleman who I hope to see very, very soon. Great friend of Lady Min also. So there we go. Next question. Which landlocked American state is known as the Silver State due to the importance of silver to its history and economy? It's also known as the Sagebrush State and the Battle-Born State. It's 110,000 square miles in size. What is the name of that state? The winner is Leslie S. with Nevada. Leslie S. So we need a song about Nevada. Have you got a song about Nevada?
I can't do everything, Matthew.
No, you can't do everything. Right. Well, Quizmaster, the next question is about tortoises. Have you got a song about a tortoise? How many tens of years can a desert tortoise, native to the Mojave and Sonoran deserts of Southwest America, be expected to live? How long can a tortoise live there? How many approximately years? Approximately. Mr. Lee Kicker says 90 years. You're very close. SS Racing says 120 years. You're further away. Dixie says 40. You're further away. Audrey says 100. Well, you're further away as also. But Dixie gets it with 80. 80 years. Dixie gets a point.
Dixie.
Dixie's
Dixie.
Midnight Runners. We need a bit of Dixie's Midnight. Have you got a bit of that for music? They can live for 80 years. They can cope with ground temperatures exceeding 60 degrees. 95% of their life are spent in the burrows. They tend to stay underground.
That's oddly is plenty.
Okay, which landlocked countries in Western Europe, size 998 square miles in size, has a motto of, we want to stay what we are? Which country in Europe has the motto of, we want to stay what we are? It's not Gibraltar, it's not Liechtenstein, it's not Hungary. We want to stay what we are. It's not Poland, it's not Ukraine, but Audrey gets it with Luxembourg. Audrey gets it. Come on, you've got to do your... We need some music that's of consequence. Right, we're going to do a London one, so we need an East End song. An East End bit of music. What about some kind of Cockney music? Which London street, historically associated with the legal profession, has its entire eastern side in the City of London and its entire western side split between the City of Westminster and the London Borough of Camden? Which street? A famous legal street. It's certainly not in that part of London. The musician doesn't think of the consequences of his actions with his silly music. It's not Baker Street, which is not in that part of London either. Sebastian Bluewater gets it with Chancery Lane.
Chancery Lane.
Originally created by the Knights Templar, of course.
Was it?
Yes. See, I do know. I am a fount of useless information. Right. Who directed the 2012 23rd James Bond series film Skyfall? Who was the director of the 2023 film? Well, it wasn't EastEnders. The music is Skyfall. You need Sam Smith.
Skyfall.
Yeah, that awful Sam Smith. The winner is Audrey with Sam Mendes. Yes.
That was exactly how it sounded.
It was awful. We couldn't stand that awful man. Awful. In which year did Sidney Frank, who I happen to know myself, founder of Grey Goose Vodka, sell his company to Bacardi for a reported US $2.2 billion? Which year did he sell up Grey Goose? Or as Maurice Kambar called it, Mr. Sky Vodka, Gay Goose. Which year did they sell up?
There's only one James Bond.
Well, we're on to Sky Vodka now. It wasn't 2007. It wasn't 1995. It wasn't 2022. But Sebastian Bluewater gets it with 2004.
This guy's using tools.
Sebastian Bluewater, we hope you're not using AI cheating methods or whatever it's called. I don't know what they call it. But it was then the number one selling brand, 1.5 million cases alone in the US. Okay, right. Now we're on to the London Underground. Have you got a song about the London Underground? How many stops are there on the London's 17-mile Circle Line? How many stops are there on the Circle Line? How many stops are there on the Circle Line? Horrible noise in the background, but it's not 26. It's not 20. It's not an open hand. It's not 34. It's not be right back. It's not 56. Audrey gets it with 36.
Good old Audrey.
Audrey, you're very reliable. You're a bit like Audrey from Broadstairs. We loved Audrey from Broadstairs. Right. And your penultimate question, how many famous faces appear on the BBC One game show, The Wheel? How many people are on The Wheel with Michael McIntyre, a man who threatened to sue me once? I love Michael McIntyre because he's a right fucking piece of work. Not. Sorry, I shouldn't have sworn. That was a little bit much. Michael McIntyre, The Roulette Wheel. It's 43 foot wide, his wheel. The Wheel. Can you play my music for The Wheel? Michael McIntyre, The Wheel. We need that. There are not 10 contestants. Yeah, here we go. The Wheel. Yes. Turn it up a bit. There you go. There you go. It's not 12. How many people appear on The Wheel? It's not 50. It's not 25. It's not 10. It's not 6. The Wheel. You have to put it on again now because they don't understand. And they all go like this. The Wheel, The Wheel. Dixie gets it with 7. Dixie. So, Dixie, you win The Wheel. You would have got the 50,000 or whatever it was. Right, okay, the final question. What was the actual name of the marital home nicknamed South Fork and South York? So we need a bit of...
South Fork?
Yes, you need a bit of Dallas. What was the actual name of the marital home nicknamed South Fork and South York of the Duke and Duchess of York? What is the actual name of the property subsequently demolished? What was the name of the home of... What was the name of the home of these two grifters? It wasn't Frogmore, no. What was the name of the marital home that looked like Tesco's? It wasn't the Gin Jar Minge. The Perfect Music. It wasn't that. That wasn't its name. It wasn't called the Posh Hut. What was the name of the house? It wasn't called Sainsbury's. It wasn't called Grifter Harage. It wasn't called Frog Cottage. It wasn't
What
called
is
The
it?
Crib. What was the name of the
What was the
marital
name?
home of the Prince Andrew and the Duchess of York?
Running out of
It wasn't
time.
called the York House or the Lodge. It wasn't called the Taj Kebab. It wasn't called the Crib. It wasn't called.
Come on, answer.
It wasn't called. Who knows? But
Next question.
well,
Missed that one.
no, it wasn't called the Knocking Shop, but it may as well have been one.
Do I need more time for music?
Yeah, but the music needs to. We need more of that. Okay, I'll give you a clue. Sunshine. It wasn't called Swingers Cottage, but Audrey gets it with Sunning Hill Park. So, do we have a winner?
Well, we have to go through it. Hold on 1 second.
Oh, come on, the quiz assistant. Debbie McGee is not really proving up to the biscuit.
We've got to work this out.
We've nearly done 2 hours of this nonsense.
Amazing. Hold on.
Amazing, yes.
Right, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think the winner is Sebastian. By 1
The
point.
winner is Sebastian by 1 point. So Sebastian is the winner. He's useless at telling me who comes second and who comes third.
Audrey is second.
Audrey is second, and who's third?
Dixie and Hatch are joint.
Dixie and Hatch are joint third. So
we
thank
did pretty
you.
well, so I think-
Woohoo, and well done to you. So thank you very much for joining in.
Well done, everyone.
Well done to everybody. We've had a lovely evening of spectacular entertainment. You think I should have a superior pen? No, well, that's very nice. But the pen is of no consequence. It's of absolute no use to this matter. But look, we're enjoying doing our quizzes again with you. And there will be a quiz book coming out shortly. So you'll be able to buy one next year. Now we're getting music in the background for you. He likes to supply music. Mr. Lee Kicker thinks it's been great to see you again. Well, thank you. That's very kind. Flabby says, haven't seen you around in a while. Well, I haven't been around in a while. So there you go. Lovely to see you again, Leslie S. And to chat. Well, that's very nice. Thank you, Leslie. And thank you to all of you for participating. And it's been very charming to be able to do this from this lovely residence where when the internet did work. I do apologize for the brief interruption, but you know, the person in the background is very funny. Well, I'm only surrounded by people who are completely funny in the head, funny in their brain, funny everything. Nice to have someone keeping score, says Mary. We all miss Lady Min. Well, there we go. Well, we do miss Lady Min, and we'll come to making a program about her on another occasion. Because I think we've done enough programs for one day now. I have just done 2 hours of nearly this. We'll talk for the next 5 minutes. I'll have a little splash in the glass, and
you still got a little splash. In the
no, a little splash would be nice. I've got.
You got to finish the first splash before you get the second splash.
No, I think we'll give you 5 minutes of questions before I go, because we were going to make a program about Lady Min today, but we'll make that program on another occasion. I'd just like to say thank you very much for all your kind support. It was a very difficult period. I went to France for 2 weeks, and I ended up staying for 7 months. And I was very, very lucky to have kind, lovely people who supported me. I had my friends who called me. The lovely Claire Rubenstein, who's now married, and well, congratulations to her. And people like Barbara Minto and Rex Leyland and my friend Anthony and all sorts of people. Lots of wonderful people who called me and kept me company. You know, the wonderful Riyadh, who has been a delightful, kind person and helped me such a lot. The likes of Kate and her husband, Steve. And Kate's going through a lot of her own problems right now. And the lovely Kathy and Mike, and the wonderful Falcon, the boat captain, who has really been an absolute rock in all of this. He's been the ultimate rock. Yeah, there were nasty people who came along the way. Nasty Nav, you all knew about him. What a piece of rubbish he was. And yeah, we'll never forgive people like him for the disgusting behavior he exhibited. And yeah, we had wonderful times with great people like Sir Chris and Lady Bonington. And we had lovely lunches with our lovely friend Yvonne Decker from the Netherlands at her beautiful home up in Godfrey, and our friends at the bars in the Godfrey, absolutely wonderful people, and our friend with the donkey who lived in the woods, the tramp, absolutely great people. We had fabulous times. So there are so many glorious memories, and I want to thank you all for their kindness. And I don't know, it's hard for me to talk about this because the horrible daughter has behaved despicably, as you probably realize. I don't really know what's happened. I don't know much because I haven't been told and nobody's been told. But we will remember the good times, and we raise a glass to our friend, and the despicable daughter can't take that away from anybody. Her mother was a good person, and she enjoyed life, and she didn't want to end up like this. And that daughter took it away from her. Shame on her. And I say, let's remember the good times and forget the horrible people like her. She's a piece of scumbag in history who should be forgotten. I say, celebrate lovely Lady Min, a good person. Cheers to her. And that's all that needs to be said on that matter. So thank you for your kindness, your support. You've been absolutely wonderful. And I don't need to say any more. So I'm going to end that here. And hopefully I'll be back talking to you again soon. So thank you. You've been wonderful. Thank you. Good night.
Oh.